Activate your star sector and unlock your hidden power. What if money didn't come from chasing, but from alignment? What if everything you've been taught about effort and struggle was only one version of reality, not the only one? Imagine a life where things begin to flow towards you naturally, where you're not constantly running, but instead attracting. Just pause for a moment and ask yourself, what if it could really be this easy? What if abundance was already moving towards you, right now, in ways you can't yet see? Even when it feels like nothing is happening, there are unseen forces aligning in your favor. Opportunities, connections, and ideas are already on their way. The question is, are you open enough to receive them, or are you still stuck believing you have to chase everything? In this reality, money flows to you from multiple sources, expected and unexpected. It shows up through people, ideas, timing, and alignment. It's not limited to one path or one effort. The more you open yourself to possibilities, the more channels begin to appear. You start realizing that abundance isn't one stream, it's an entire network flowing toward you. Not because you're chasing it, but because you've become the kind of person it flows to. Your identity has shifted. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to get ahead, but as someone who naturally attracts value. And when that shift happens internally, everything outside begins to reflect it back to you in powerful and undeniable ways. You've aligned with the frequency of abundance, not just in thought, but in how you feel, how you act, and how you show up daily. It's no longer something you try to believe, it's something you embody. And once you reach that state, you don't have to convince life to give you more, it simply responds to who you are. And now, opportunities find you. You start noticing how things come together without force. The right message at the right time, the right person appearing unexpectedly, the right idea forming effortlessly. It feels almost unreal at first, but then you realize this is what happens when you stop chasing and start allowing. Leadership appears naturally in your life. People begin to look at you differently, not because you demanded attention, but because your presence carries clarity and direction. You don't need to prove anything. There's a quiet confidence in how you move, and that alone begins to position you as someone others trust and follow. Not because you're forcing it, but because you radiate it. Your energy speaks before your words ever do. People feel something different around you, something grounded, something certain. And without trying to impress or control, you naturally influence the space you walk into simply by being fully aligned within yourself. You don't try to lead, you just are. There's no performance, no pressure to act a certain way. It's effortless. Your decisions become clearer, your direction stronger, and your presence more impactful. Leadership is no longer something you chase or learn. It becomes a natural extension of who you've become. Now notice this, time feels different. Things don't feel as slow or distant anymore. What once felt like a long journey begins to feel like it's happening faster than expected. You start to sense that time isn't as fixed as you thought. It responds to your state, your clarity, and your alignment. Things that once felt far away are happening now. Goals that used to feel distant begin showing signs of becoming real. You're no longer waiting for the future, you're stepping into it. And the more you trust this shift, the more your reality begins to meet you halfway. Years collapse into moments. Progress that once seemed slow begins to accelerate. You look back and realize how much has changed in such a short time. It's not luck, it's alignment. When everything inside you is clear, everything outside begins to move faster to match it. Like reality is speeding up just for you. Synchronicities increase, timing feels perfect, and things begin to click into place. You start trusting the flow instead of questioning it. And that trust becomes the very thing that keeps the momentum going. Your consciousness is choosing your reality, moment by moment, whether you notice it or not. Every thought you repeat, every belief you hold on to, and every feeling you entertain is shaping what shows up next in your life. Now you're becoming more aware of this power. Instead of reacting to what happens, you begin directing it. You realize that your inner world isn't separate from reality. It is the starting point of everything. Out of infinite possibilities, you select this one. Not randomly, but through your focus, your energy, and what you choose to believe is possible for you. Each moment becomes a quiet decision about who you are and what kind of life you step into. And as you keep choosing the version where things align, grow, and work in your favor, that version becomes stronger, clearer, and more real. The version where your influence expands, not by force, but by resonance. More people begin to notice you, connect with your message, and feel drawn to your presence. You're no longer trying to be seen, you simply are. And because of that, your impact grows in a way that feels natural and steady, reaching further than you expected without you having to push or prove anything. The version where people feel your presence the moment you enter a space. There's something calm yet powerful about your energy, something that makes others pause and pay attention. You don't need to say much because what you carry within you already speaks clearly, and that quiet strength begins to create a lasting impression on everyone you come across. And feel inspired just by being around you. Your growth becomes visible, not in what you say, but in how you show up. People start to see what's possible through you. Without trying to teach or convince anyone, you naturally become an example of change, of expansion, and of what alignment can create in someone's life. Because your energy speaks louder than words ever could. It's steady, it's grounded, and it's real. People trust what they feel, and what they feel around you is clarity and certainty. That's what creates true influence. Not loud effort, but quiet consistency in who you are and how you show up every single day. Now you understand wealth differently. It's no longer something you see as distant or separate from you. You begin to realize that wealth starts from within, from how you think, how you value yourself, and how you choose to express what you have. Money becomes just one part of a much bigger picture, not the whole story anymore. It's not just money, it's expression. The way you share your ideas, your creativity, your voice, and your perspective with the world. You begin to see that everything you create holds value, and the more openly you express it, the more it connects with others. That connection is what starts to bring real abundance into your life. Your ideas, your gifts, your presence, these are the things that make you unique, and these are the things that create true value. When you stop holding back and start sharing them fully, you realize how much you actually have to offer. And the more you trust that, the more confident and aligned you begin to feel. And when you express this, abundance grows. Not all at once, but steadily, naturally, and in ways that feel aligned with who you are. You begin to see results that reflect your effort, your clarity, and your consistency. It no longer feels forced. It feels like a natural outcome of being fully yourself. More value brings more flow. The more you give, create, and share from a place of authenticity, the more returns begin to come back to you. It becomes a cycle that continues to build on itself, where growth leads to more opportunity, and opportunity leads to even more growth without resistance. More flow expands your impact. You start reaching more people, creating more change, and building something that goes beyond just yourself. Your work begins to touch lives in meaningful ways, and that creates a deeper sense of purpose in everything you do moving forward. You step into the energy of a luminous leader, someone who doesn't control or force, but guides through presence and clarity. There's a calm strength in how you carry yourself, and people begin to recognize it. You don't need validation anymore. You already know who you are. You don't try to shine, you simply do. It's no longer about effort or proving anything to anyone. It's natural, effortless, and consistent. Your confidence comes from within, and because of that, it doesn't shake easily. It becomes a steady light that others can see and feel. Like a star, you lift everything around you. Without even trying, your presence begins to raise the energy of the people and spaces you're part of. You become someone who adds value simply by being there, and that kind of impact is rare and powerful. Your presence shifts the reality of others, quietly but deeply. You may not always see it immediately, but the way you think, act, and show up begins to influence those around you. It creates a ripple effect that continues to spread, even beyond what you can measure or control. And now, your new reality begins. Not somewhere far in the future, but right here in this moment. This is where everything starts to change, where everything starts to align. And as you step fully into this version of yourself, you realize this was always available to you.